Hi, I'm Dr. Daniel Amen. Welcome back. I am here to tell you that you are not stuck with the brain you have. You can make it better, and I can prove it. And that's what I've been doing my whole life, helping regular people just like you fall in love with their brains and then develop specific, actionable plans that you can put in your life to optimize your brain. I love helping people be more focused, have better energy, better memory, better mood, just more joy, happiness, and peace in their lives. In this video, I'm going to go over the Amen Clinics method. I'm also going to answer some of the most common questions that people ask me. But I want to tell you stories. I mean, ultimately, it's the stories that I love the most. I remember I was working on one of our online platforms, and I was talking to the head of a huge corporation, and he was telling me about his 15-year-old daughter who he had to actually put her in a psychiatric hospital because she was cutting herself, she was running away, she was depressed, and I was just horrified. I went, well, you should let me see her. And when we scanned her, she had really low activity in the front part of her brain. And when she tried to concentrate, it got worse. So the poor girl was living her whole life with untreated ADD. And when we treated it using both medicine and supplements, she got dramatically better. In fact, we're still texting buddies. And when she texted me her first report card after being fully treated with all A's, she was so excited. But for me, it just gave me goosebumps. When you have a better brain, you can have a much better life. When you have a better brain, you also have better relationships. I remember when I first started doing our imaging work, I see a lot of couples, and I saw this one couple who just hated each other, and they were not much fun. And after about 3 months, I realized I was not going to get them better. But I'm persistent, and over the next 6 months, things just didn't go well. And I had thought to myself, well, today I'm going to tell them to get divorced. But growing up Roman Catholic, that really made me feel bad to say that. And so they're actually the first couple that I scanned. And what I found was the wife's brain worked way too hard. The husband's brain didn't work hard enough. And that when I balanced their brains, they're still married. I mean, this is like 24 years later. They're still married. They have another child. They're not seeing therapists anymore. I was the 5th therapist that they saw. So when your brain works too hard, so it's an area of the brain we haven't talked about yet in this series. It's called the anterior cingulate gyrus. So it's a big term, but it's an area deep in the front part of your brain. It's your brain's gear shifter. It allows you to go from thought to thought, move from idea to idea, be flexible, go with the flow. And when it works too hard, people tend to be worried, rigid, inflexible. If things don't go their way, they get upset. And she had a PhD in grudge holding. I mean, she would just beat him up for things that happened 15 years ago. I mean, that's a hard thing on a relationship. And for Bob, the husband, he just never paid attention. I mean, his frontal lobes were sleepy. And so he wouldn't inhibit himself. He would say stupid things. He would get in trouble for impulsive behavior. So being married with a good brain is hard. But when your brain is troubled, either working too hard or not hard enough, it can just devastate a relationship. And one of the things I get really excited about is with a better brain, yes, you have a better life, but your relationships are also significantly better. And then one of my favorite recent stories, the CEO of a large marketing company came to see me. And he actually said it in public because he introduced me. I got to speak in an event that he did in front of 26,000 people. So that was so much fun for me. But as he introduced me, he said, I thought I was fine. I would look in the mirror and I would look right because I worked out and I ate right. But a friend of mine went to see Dr. Amen. He found it so helpful. I went, and when I looked at my brain, it was terrible. It was older than I was, and just the act of looking made a dramatic difference. And then I got serious. Now, you can get serious about your brain without looking. Now, if you can't get serious, then you should come and look. But I'm hoping I'm convincing you to be serious about your brain. So here's the method. Brain envy, you got to care about your brain. 2, avoid anything that hurts your brain. You need to learn what that list is. Things like drugs and alcohol are obvious, but things that aren't obvious are things like diabetes, prediabetes, sleep apnea, hypertension, heart disease, mold exposure, being exposed to things like Lyme disease, untreated ADD, untreated depression. Brain envy, avoid bad, do good, give it away, because it is in the act of giving that you receive. And so now Jeff was giving this away to thousands, tens of thousands of people, creating his own support group. And when I scanned him 4 months later, his brain already was on a healing trajectory. Now, he still has more room to go, but I am so excited for him that he literally changed his brain. And in the process, better energy, better memory, better focus, better relationships. You can do this too. But you need a very specific plan, which we'll talk about. Before we do that, let's talk about the 10 most frequently asked questions that people have. First question, I always get this question. Do I need to come to one of Amen clinics and get a SPECT scan? Well, if you are struggling with a resistant problem that's just not getting better the way you want, we're a great place for you, no doubt. I love the work we do here at Amen Clinics. But a long time ago, I realized not everybody can get a scan. My books are translated into 33 languages, so if you read me in China or Japan or Korea or Russia or Poland or Brazil, odds are you're not coming for a scan. So based on thousands of scans, I developed a series of questionnaires to help you know what your scan might look like, and then we give you a plan to help you. So I'll talk about that some more. The second question, are stimulants safe for people who have ADD? And the answer is yes and no. What we discovered based on our imaging work is ADD is not one thing. It's 7 different things. 7. And stimulants like Ritalin or Vyvanse or Adderall work really well for 2 of the types, but they actually make 5 of the other types worse. So it is critical to know, do I have ADD, short attention span, distractibility, restlessness, impulse control problems, disorganization, procrastination, consistently, not just, one day out of 30, all of us have that, but consistently. If you do, getting it treated is really important, but it's also equally important to know what type you have. My family doesn't believe I have a problem, and they won't be supportive. That's very common. I hear that question all the time. So what can you do? Be the change you want to see. Really, the most important thing is that you do the things that you can do to keep your brain healthy. And as you get better, people are going to want what you have. So let me tell you a really emotional story for me. So I am one of 7 children, and I'm third. I have an older brother and an older sister and 4 younger sisters. So a lot of estrogen in my family. But when you're a middle child, especially if you have an older sister and an older brother, you're not all that special. And I sort of got lost a little bit, and my dad was a pain in the neck. He worked all the time, he was gone, and his favorite word was no. So we were not close when I grew up. And when I told him in 1980 I was going to be a psychiatrist, he got mad at me and said, "Why do you want to do that?" And actually said, "You want to be a nut doctor?" I mean, so you can see he was not terribly evolved, even though he was an incredible businessman, owns a chain of grocery stores. I mean, he's the embodiment of the American dream. As the chairman of the board of a $4 billion company. So as I really fall in love with the brain and want to get the people's brains that I love, get their brains healthy, I was always talking to him about it, and he was dismissing me. And a couple of years ago, at the age of 83, he developed a heart arrhythmia, and they shocked him. And I mean, it's called a cardioversion, and it worked. But last year, it came back. He had mold exposure in his house, and he started coughing, and his heart arrhythmia came back. And this time, the cardioversion didn't work. And he felt sick. He felt tired. We were worried he would die. I am, again, of course, lovingly harassing him to get healthy, because his inflammation's high. He's significantly overweight. I mean, he's just not doing the right things, and he's not listening. But for the last 20 years, I live the message. I talk about the message. You know, I like this metaphor. Are you a sheep or a sheepdog? Or a sheep? Sheep just go with the herd. They live in denial. They think the wolf will never come. And they don't like sheepdogs, because sheepdogs irritate them. They bite at their ankles. They basically tell them there's trouble and you need to straighten up. So anyways, I'm the sheepdog. He's the sheep. And finally, about 6 months ago, he looked at me and he said, "I'm sick of being sick. What do you want me to do?" I'm like a little kid, so excited, and I laid it out for him. I need you to eat differently. I need you to start exercising really slow, because I know you're tired. Here are the simple supplements I want you to take, and I don't want you to let anybody mess up my program. And you know, the stubbornness that he had his whole life that was sort of irritating worked for him. Just did everything I asked him to do. He's even texting me labels. Can I eat that? Because all the food pushers in our life are like, well, you can eat this. Oh, it's just a little bit of that. Oh, you'll be fine. Oh, and I'm like, no. We're serious or we're not serious. And he was serious. And it was so exciting, because every week when I would go, because I started working out with him, we're lifting weights together, and he's like, my belt is looser. My pants are bigger. I'm getting into clothes I haven't gotten into in 20 years. And actually, he's lost 35 pounds. He's the same weight I am now. He doesn't have a big belly. He can get on the floor and do a plank. You know what a plank is? He can actually do 3 one-minute planks. He's 86 years old. He is going to look and feel better at 90 because he made the decision to be serious about his health. And I couldn't be happier. I want that for you. But I don't want you to have to be sick in order to get well. And, you know, so brain envy, avoid anything that hurts your brain. Engage in regular brain healthy habits. So that's really the model. Brain envy, you gotta care. Avoid things that hurt it. Do things that help it. And if no one in your family is going to support you, you be the change you want to see. Because in my family, people called me a nut doctor, you know, and then it was not only a nut doctor, now I'm a health nut. And I'm passionate. And I want you to be too. And quite frankly, if you're not serious, it won't work. Those people who want to lose 10 pounds, I go, oh, my program's not for you. I mean, you can go to Jenny Craig and do that. I want you to get control of your brain and your body for the rest of your life. But you will never get control of your body if you don't first get control of your brain. Another question is, how important is diet? Well, let's see. Your brain uses 20 to 30% of the calories you consume. If you have a fast food diet, you're going to have a fast food brain. It's just critical. Food is medicine or it's poison. The standard American diet has been associated with ADHD, depression, dementia, cancer, obesity, heart disease, and hypertension. Another question people ask me is, well, how is this different than everything else that I've tried? It's everything else you've tried didn't start with the organ of decision making, which is your brain. Is it hard? I get that question. Oh, it sounds hard. Being sick is hard. God gave you a big brain for a reason. I'm going to give you a very simple plan. I mean, just think of it. Brain envy, I really care. Avoid anything that hurts my brain. Do things that help it. All you have to do is fill out those two lists, and that's really the essence of brain health. Ever since Chloe's my 12-year-old, ever since she was 2, she and I play this game called Chloe's Game. Is this good for my brain or bad for my brain? And if you can just fill out those lists and I'll help you, it just makes a radical difference. Will this help me with my sleep? 60 million Americans have trouble sleeping. You do the right things for your brain. Often the first thing that improves is your sleep. Will it help me at school or at work? I mean, that's what people say consistently, predictably, is that when your brain works right, learning is easier and you're more effective on your job. And other people go, well, why can't I finish things? Why can't I stick to things? Well, it's possible you have untreated ADD. Untreated ADD often goes with being distracted, or it could be you've not done a good job of taking care of your brain. So what I want to ask you is, are you serious? Are you like me, where other people really depend on you to have a healthy brain and a healthy life, and that other people actually look to you as an example? I told you one of the most important stories in my whole life about my dad. If I wasn't serious, odds are I would have lost him earlier. In the next few days, I'm going to send you a video about an opportunity to be involved in our coaching program. And I'm so excited. I know that for most of us, we actually need someone to hold our hand, to walk us through step by step, how do I put these habits into my life for the rest of my life? So it's not about losing 10 pounds. I mean, you may lose 50, or, one of our guys, Steve, lost 400. But it's not really about that. It's about having a better brain so you can make better decisions to have the best life possible. What I want you to do now is think about, who do you have in your life that's like my dad in my life? Who do you have that's important to you, that if you really lived a brain healthy life, if you really got your brain as healthy as it could be, who else could that make a difference for? Could it be your children, your grandchildren? Could it be a parent, a spouse, a coworker? I want you to really think, who do you influence, or who would you love to influence? And then as you get well, just be patient. I mean, one of the most important people in my life, somebody who was actually hard for me. It took me being really serious about this for like 25 years So I want you in it for the long haul. I mean, I'm in it, as you've heard me say throughout this video series, because not only just when I was 37, but when I was 37, I was thinking what I'd be like at 50. When I was 50, I was thinking about what I'd be like at 100. I want you to take the long-term view. And, one other quick question I'll answer for you. I don't want to give up anything. Well, let's see what you're really giving up when you don't get on a brain healthy program. You're giving up energy. You're giving up your memory. You're giving up good decision-making skills. You're giving up your ability to be your best self. And quite frankly, I no longer miss the French fries, the donuts, sitting on the couch. I love what I have. So what do you want? What kind of health do you want? What kind of role model do you want to be? Stay with me.